Sam Amick, the NBA senior writer at The Athletic, covering the NBA in his most recent column, Why the Clippers' Grand Plan, Landing Leonard and Durant, is still in place. Sam, kind enough to join us. Let me start there. You think that's what Jerry West has cooking here with the Clippers?
Good morning, Dan. I mean, yes. The short answer is yes. The longer answer is that I was pretty surprised after, some of the recent moves in New York with Porzingis going to Dallas and the intel all around the NBA being that the Knicks feel very good about their chances of getting Durant, to hear that the Clippers are not waving the white flag. This is not the only plan in place, but, their number one plan A is still there, and they feel like they have, a competitive edge on the Knicks specifically and others when it comes to their top to bottom presentation. Steve Ballmer is his background. You're talking about a former Microsoft CEO and far and away the richest guy in the NBA. And they're going to try to paint a picture when July rolls around that compels, somebody like Kevin to come their way. So that Tobias Harris trade had a lot to do with that. And then also filling up the cupboard with a whole bunch of draft picks that also, that puts them in play for other situations as well.
Why do we assume that Kevin Durant is not going back to Golden State?
I'm pretty close to that team on a regular basis, and I think the answer there is just that it's been very, very uncomfortable all year long. And the irony of these past couple of days with his infamous press conference and, the frustrations that he has had is that I keep thinking about the fact that, Draymond Green has got to be sitting there in the background with a little bit of a smile on his face, like, man, I told you all this was going to be a problem, be a distraction. And, because back in, the early regular season when they had that dust-up in the Clippers game, as you know, that was the root of it all. That was the fuel on the fire, was the idea from Draymond's standpoint that Kevin's insistence on signing one-year deals, and this narrative that was going to dog him all year long was going to be a distraction. So I'm not ready to say it's 100% by any means, because you cannot predict what a man's going to feel, especially when he goes out and maybe wins a third straight championship. But the intel right now is certainly pointing him out of town.
Yeah, I thought that from the beginning, Sam, that he had kind of done what he wanted to do, got a couple of titles, and then, he got the blowback that you ruined basketball. He's not going to join LeBron. He doesn't want to help LeBron's legacy. He thinks he's the best player in the game. And if you can revitalize the Garden, that's where you put a stamp on your legacy. That's pretty impressive. And he's such a sensitive guy. But if you can't handle the media in San Francisco, I mean, if he goes to New York, oh my God, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
right?
And I think. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, listen, I will say that the media in the Bay, the tricky part about how he got frustrated the other night is I really do think that on most days his story gets told extremely accurately and fairly and deeply, if that makes sense. And the New York situation, like from a psychological aspect, and I know that guys like Kevin, it drives them nuts when we end up trying to read their minds. And that, I think, is part of his frustration. But you look at New York, and my thing would be that, yeah, if you go win a championship out there or even have a lot of success, you're going to be they're going to build a statue of you eventually. But if you don't, the other scenario, the other possibility is pretty disastrous. You're going to be miserable, and it's going to be Carmelo 2.0. And that is why I think the Clippers are looking at it again, saying, okay, if maybe that is a little too hot for you and you want a different speed, where here's the other narrative: come steal LA from LeBron on the back end of his career with the organization that has such a battered brand for all these decades of losing and dysfunction. And if you're that guy who kind of flips the script, then maybe that is more your speed. And these are all the things that he'll be chewing on in July.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.